In this video, we are speedrunning differences between English and the Chinese language. I've got 22 for you today. Let's go! Chinese is a tonal language with 4 tones, meaning that the inflection when speaking actually changes the meaning of the sound. For example, da, 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 da all mean different things. There are 2 different writing systems in Chinese, traditional Chinese characters and simplified Chinese characters adopted in 1956. There is a lot of overlap though, since not every character was simplified. Chinese also has 2 different ways of writing pronunciation. Zhuyin was the earlier system created in 1913 after the fall of the Qing dynasty and used in Taiwan until this day. Pinyin, which is based on the Latin alphabet, is used in mainland China since 1958 until now. English doesn't really have a standard for writing pronunciation, but IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, is commonly used. Every Chinese character is exactly 1 syllable long. In contrast, English words range from 1 syllable all the way up to 19 syllables. In the word pneumano ultramicroscopic silico-volcanoconiosis. This is stupid. In professional translation, the word count conversion between Chinese and English is 150 to 100, meaning about 150 Chinese characters are needed to express 100 English words. But because each character is only 1 syllable long, when spoken out loud, they take roughly the same time. Chinese writing doesn't use spaces. Characters are just written continuously. Traditionally, Chinese was written up, down, right to left, and books were opened from the left side. Fans of manga might recognize that this is how Japanese writes as well. There are 7 Chinese dialects to 2 English accents, 3 if you count Australia. Except those 7 are actually dialect families: Mandarin, Cantonese, Min, Hakka, Gan, Wu, Xiang, and each of those families have their own collection of dialects underneath them, with the total number of Chinese dialects somewhere in the several hundred range. And on top of that, most of these dialects are mutually unintelligible, which means they can't understand each other. However, they are unified by the common writing system of Chinese characters. There are possibly more than 50,000 Chinese characters to 1 million English words, but most of those are archaic or rare, so to be more realistic, let's look at entries in dictionaries. The Xinhua Zidian has just 13,000 characters. And the Merriam-Webster Unabridged has 470,000 words. But you would be wrong to think that English has more words than Chinese. No, because a Chinese character is not a Chinese word. And the majority of Chinese words are actually 2-character compounds. Check this video out for more information. The Hanyu Dacicidian lists 370,000 compound Chinese words, putting it on par with English. Chinese numbers under 100 have only 10 unique words, 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The tens units are expressed by simply saying 210, 20 to mean 20, 310, 30 to mean 30. English, on the other hand, has 19 unique words from 1 to 19, and then a unique name for every single multiple of 10, all the way up to 100. This may seem insignificant, but some have theorized that this is why Chinese kids are better at math. I'm not even joking. Large numbers in English are organized by multiples of thousands, or 3 zeros. So, for example, 1,000,000 is 1,000 times 1,000. But in Chinese, large numbers are organized by 10,000s, or 4 zeros. 10,000 in Chinese is a unit called 1, and 10,000 times 10,000 creates the next larger unit, E, which is 100 million. When expressing a quantity in English, you simply put the number before the object. For example, 5 books. But in Chinese, you have to add something called a classifier between the number and the object. So 5 books would be 5本书. The classifier gives a general indication of the shape or the type of object you're referring to, and it's like saying a cup of water in English. English speakers often confuse there, and there. Chinese speakers often confuse duh, and duh. I still do. English verbs conjugate to express tense. Chinese verbs do not. Instead, Chinese uses characters like hui or yao to express future actions and guo or le to express past actions. 666 is an unlucky number in English or Western Christianity-based cultures because in the Bible, 666 is the number of the devil. However, in Chinese, 666 is actually a slang for cool or awesome because liu 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 kind of sounds like liu liu liu, which means smooth. Chinese people put their surnames first and then their given names, opposite of English. However, in both cultures, it is common to address people by their titles and last names. So, Li Yisheng, Dr. Li. English uses words like Miss or Mr. to address strangers. In contrast, Chinese tends to use modified family relation words like brother or sister, 大哥大姐小哥哥小姐姐 to address strangers. Modern Chinese has largely adopted English punctuations, but there is still a set of punctuation marks unique to Chinese, including these double-angled brackets used for book titles and a circular period. Chinese relies heavily on modal particles at the end of sentences to express mood or emotion. You can change the meaning of this sentence, 你过来, come here you, at least 8 different ways just by using different modal particles. 你过来了? You came? 你过来吗? Are you coming? 你过来吗? Come here. 你过来呗? Why don't you come over? 你过来了? You came. 你过来呀? Come here, you punk. 你过来吧? You can come over. 你过来哦? Come here. The Chinese language doesn't have a universal word for yes. It also doesn't have a universal word for no. What you say depends on the situation and what's being asked. The most difficult sound for English speakers to make in Mandarin Chinese seems to be the R sound and the third tone, like in the word zhe. And the most difficult sound for Chinese speakers to say in English, well, it depends on where in China they're from, but the TH sound and the soft I seem to be difficult, like in the word thick. And the last difference between English and Chinese is all third-person pronouns in Chinese share the exact same pronunciation. That's right, the words for he, her, or it may have slightly different characters, but they are all spoken as ta. There are even some rare pronouns that are used for deities or animals, and yes, even the pronouns for gods share the same pronunciation as the peasants, ta. Alright, that's the end of the speed run. If you want to learn about any of these topics more in depth, leave a comment down below and I may do a deep dive video in the future. That's it for now. See ya, bye!